Take this from the top. Here we go. Say welcome.
Welcome.
There we go.
Okay, and welcome, Rabbi. Thank you so much, for blessing us with another Zman Mitzvah Shem of the chef of the Torah.
Thanks for pushing me. If not for Clark, I wouldn't have really done this. You really pushed me to do this series on the kavanot in English. It's not for the world, it's only for the shiurim. I don't want it to be out in the streets, but put a little time in it. Hopefully, we don't have that much time. We have to sort of crash course and learn the kavanot of shofar in 2 or 3 weeks.
Rabbi, would you mind if I mentioned, that this week, Rosh Hashana, about 50% of all the delicious food that we see out here this evening is sponsored by my very good friend, our very good friend, his mother.
My grandma.
Your grandmother. Oh, okay. Whose yard site is?
Miriam lost Moshe's tonight.
Tonight.
Especially combined with
Everything you said.
judgment for all of us. Okay, just go ahead.
Okay, so what do we need this for? We just go to shul and listen to you're the Baal Tekeya?
Yeah.
Listen to the Baal Tekeya. You're also Baal Tekeya. And we're good to go. What do we need all this for? And so what's interesting is that the Chavetz Chaim in the entire Mishnah Berurah, there's only one place where he stresses the importance to learn the kavanot, and he means these kavanot, not kavanah in your heart, but kavanah of the Arizal, the Rishash, on the tekiyos shofar. That's how important it is. And the whole shofar in general is a time where the Yemei Adin are coming, the days of judgment, and we all want to do everything we can to bring down the right bracha, have a Shana Tov in the sukkah, sweet here. Everything is good no matter what. But that's not good enough for us. We always wish Shana Tov in the sukkah, we want to be able to taste the good. There's good that comes down in a camouflage. That type of good we're not asking for. We really want it openly good. And the way to do that is with the shofar. The shofar is like dipping the apple in the honey. The shofar is made up of 4 letters, Shin, Vav, Pei, Reish. The Pei, Reish represents dinim. It's the gematria of 280, and the number 280 represents the mansapah. Those are the end letters of the alphabet. You have the alphabet, 22 letters, and then you have another 5 final letters, which is the mansapah, Mem, Nun, Tzadik, Chav. The mansapah end letters, just like end letters, end a sentence, end the word, and you're now at the end. That represents dinam. That's like a stop sign. That's holding back the shefa from running on, a run-on sentence. Okay, you have an end letter. And so too these letters of the alphabet are the letters that represent dinam. So in the word shofar, these 2 letters, Pei Reish, represent the dinam, matzabah. The other 2 letters, Shin Vav, is 306 gematria Devash. Devash is Dal Beis Shin, so the Shin is the Shin, and the Vav is a Dal and a Beis, a 4 and a 2. So it's Dvash and Dinam. And that's really what the shofar does. By blowing the shofar, we are arousing the Dinam. I'll give you one quick mashal and understand how shofar works in the plain way, and then we'll go to the deeper way. There's once a kid that was a little bit of a troublemaker. We all know those type of kids. And today we have names for it. My days they didn't give any names for it. AHD, and all these different names. But every second week he was thrown out of class. Once the principal, they were furious with him because they had a fight in class, and he broke the window, threw something and the window broke. So he came home and he had he said a Kabbalat Panim. Not like what the chassan has when people come to welcome him, but he had the mother and father each deciding how much of a beating this guy needs to shake him up. And the father saying, okay, you're can't do this anymore, I'm gonna spank you. And the mother says, no, even give him more. And then the brother comes in and says, yeah, and he started adding things that should be included in the punishment. When the kid was listening and what's going on, he said, forget, I'm gone. So he ran into his room, closed the door, and all of a sudden they hear a yell, scream. his finger got caught in the door. He severed his finger. All of a sudden, parents take him to the hospital, they rush him to the hospital, had surgery, everything. All of a sudden, he turned into a victim. And on the way out of the hospital, when he recuperated, he got a 10-speed bike. Forget about all of the punishments that they were going to land on him. He now is a celebrity in the house. Anything you need, anything you want. And that's what the shofar is. The shofar is the cry. We're coming to Rosh Hashana, and we have the court case. No one likes to go to court. So what are we going to say to Hashem? We can't say, whatever we want to say, we can't say. We take the shofar pulls out that desire in our heart to really be good, because every Jew deep down wants to please Hashem, and words cannot even describe it, so it just comes out from the hevel of the lev. Hevel is vapor. Hevel is hey, lev. It comes from the lev, that a hey, the letter hey in the Zohar is the letter that has no sound really, it's like the vapor. The hey comes out, that sound comes out from the heart. The lungs are like the fan, blow it up, go through the 5 parts of the mouth. And normally, the 5 different components of the heart, the teeth and the lips and the girdle and the tongue, all form different letters of the aleph base. There's 5 groupings. But if you blow into a shofar, the hevel goes straight out and it goes up, and that cry turns all the dinim into rachamim. And that's the tremendous power of the shofar. Especially,
should we now be just blowing the shofar now during Elul, aside from like what you hear in Shacharis, right? Should we be blowing the shofar on a daily basis? Is there any benefit to that? Or are we talking only about the mitzvah of tekiyos shofar, listening to it on Rosh Hashana Mamash?
Anytime you hear a shofar,
this is like a matzah on Chol Moed kind of question, right? I mean, like, is it still a mitzvah? We'll say yes. We'll no, right? Yeah. Is it like that?
It's a mitzvah cubit. It's only a minhag. And actually, the Sfarim don't have it. They don't blow shofar. No.
Yeah, so interesting.
You don't have to, they say slichas.
That's right.
So there's no benefit. When you say hearing shofar, you're talking about only on Rosh Hashana.
Right.
Everything you said about blowing the shofar, hearing the shofar, only talk on the day of Rosh Hashana. Mamash.
Right. With the shofar blowing in Elul, it has a different purpose. That is not arousing up there. It doesn't have the cause to do that. It arouses us, awakens us, because it reminds us, Rosh Hashanah is coming.
Okay, so would it be kedai to listen to shofar many times throughout the day on Rosh Hashanah, or all day on Rosh Hashanah? Like a little bit extra. You can wake up, you can share your yotze the mitzvah, but there are some people who keep the mamash with them the whole day. Is it like that?
No. This is in the mitzvah. The Vilna Gaon says, in mitzvahs, say there's certain mitzvahs which have a mitzvah kiyumis and chiyuvis. A mitzvah to do the mitzvah or to be mekayim the mitzvah. For example, the Gemara says that on Pesach there's a mitzvah to eat matzah on the night of Pesach. First night of Pesach. The other days you don't have a mitzvah. In other words, if you want to have fruits and vegetables the rest of the holiday, the rest of the yom, you're okay. First night you can't get around that. You must have gazayas and matzah.
But there's some people who say
however, even according to Gemara, you're not obligated to have the others. But if you happen to have matzah on the 3rd day, you want to eat something, and instead of having an apple, take a matzah, you get a mitzvah say, kiyumis, you're not obligated to, but you could check off on your box, I got another mitzvah say. Based on that, my Rosh Hashiva held that on Pesach one should not have any diets, and should be eating matzah all Pesach. So if you have the choice, having a nice steak or matzah, go for the matzah, because you get a mitzvah say.
But just in contrast to shofar, with matzah, we don't eat matzah from Rosh Chodesh to the Yom Tov.
Right.
And over here we are constantly...
But in answer to the question, shofar is different. There's no mitzvah to have to blow it. In fact, you're not allowed to blow it afterwards.
Well, before yes.
What?
And before yes, is there any benefit to it? That's the question.
Not on Yom Tov.
Tomorrow morning, if I wake up
Yes.
and blow shofar, is there any benefit to that?
Not really. It's only as a learning.
If I listen to shofar, which we all will, okay,
Yes.
Mitzvah Shem, okay, is there any benefit to me also blowing shofar on Rosh Hashanah the day?
No.
Like in your house, you go home, just blow shofar. Why not?
No. First of all, the mitzvah of shofar is you're not allowed to. Once you're yotze, you can't blow shofar.
You can't blow shofar.
Right. Only unless you have someone else to fulfill it. First of all, the mitzvah of shofar is not blowing shofar.
Sure.
hearing it. Knows the Baal Tokeya, if he has earplugs in this thing, he didn't fulfill the mitzvah and needed anybody else. If he can't hear it, then he has to fulfill the mitzvah.
Okay.
Then the mitzvah is to listen to the shofar.
Is
So
someone
we have
who's
to-
deaf allowed to be able
so,
to hear?
No.
So someone who's deaf, it was in a shul a couple of years ago when I was born chauffeur. They asked, the Rav had a relative who happened to be deaf. It says, can he hold onto the shofar to feel the vibrations as the shofar is blowing? I said, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, they can do that.
Like
They
Braille?
help him in the mitzvah.
Like Braille?
Yeah, basically.
Right.
Sensory experience.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It was weird for me, I'll tell you that much. But,
Smell the disgust.
Oh,
that
you were
comes out.
blowing.
I was blowing.
And there's no mitzvah, I'm sorry to see you asking this question. There's no additional mitzvah to just listen to more blowings throughout the day. Like go
No.
hear 3 different blowings.
Unless you have a question whether the guy knew what he was doing, and then that's
It's interesting because it just means that everything we're talking about right now
yes.
is all going to be for mamish that one moment, that one time, those 2 days, and that's it.
Right, because it's also
Flies easier, holding
it's
the shofar
also-
in your trachea.
it's also part of the seder of the tefillah. It's in a certain place, and that's when we can activate what has to be done. We're going to learn in this booklet. So in the first part of the booklet, I'm not going to go through because we have a very limited amount of time. Rosh Hashana is not very close. So the background for beginners, page 7, 8, and 9, and 10. You can read that story. This part you can do on your own. It gives an overview of the spheres. There's 5 terms which we've already used periodically. That there's sphirot, there's 10 spheres. There's olamot, there's Atzilus, Bria, Tzia, the 4 worlds. There's Patsufim, structures within each world. So that explains a little bit over here. The primary purpose of the mitzvah of shofar is to accomplish what we need to do, and I'll have to make more of these charts, but we're not going to use it tonight, so I only brought a few just to see. Just like on Pesach, we had a chart. This shofar chart, the first line on top is the tekiyah Rishonah. We have the Samai when they first blow the first tekiyah, the blue one. And the second line is going to be all the other colors. And our goal is to try to find out what is going on over here, what happens when we blow shofar. And I'll have more. I'm cooking more.
Sorry,
Didn't
one
come
more
out yet.
question.
What's
Is
that?
there any benefit to, on Rosh Hashana, going and finding a Baal Tekiyah that has all this in mind and listening to his versus anybody else's?
Absolutely. But if you're in a shul that they don't have the Baal Tekiyah doesn't know it, you could do it. No, if you have the kavanot, you actually lift up the call.
So
You
we
can
can
call
have
for
these
the whole
kavanas
shul.
while we're listening, basically.
Yes, sure. And it's enough that also brings it up. Because sometimes the Baal Tekiyah didn't know the kavanah, so the guy next to him used the lines. Actually, there was a story with the Baal Shem, famous story, where the Baal Tekiyah, he asked somebody to be the Baal Tekiyah. He prepared all the kavanas, spent a month. He didn't have this booklet. He figured out another way. He had to learn all the kavanas, and he wrote everything down. Came to shul, and the wind came, and it blew all of his notes out the window, or whatever. There he was, and he was devastated. He was devastated. Here he would prepare a whole month to blow for the Baal Shem, and he didn't have any kavanas. And he blew shofar, and the Baal Shem Tov said, see what's wrong? Why are you so troubled? And he told them what happened. He said, no, you don't understand. Your shofar blowing was the best out of all the years, because he had such a broken heart. Leiv nishba v'nitkad. That did a lot more than whatever the kavanas he had in mind. The key is to open up one's heart. But we have this help, and with the kavanas, we hopefully accomplish, like through the shofar, we bring down all the bracha that we need for the entire year. It all comes down on Rosh Hashana, and the shofar helps make sure that the channels of shofar that come down don't get blocked along the way, and come down in the way we want it, whether it's in refuah, and bracha, and nachat from children, parnasa, health, whatever it may be, is all connected to the shofar. So, what happens in the level of spheres, and what are we doing on Rosh Hashana? We know Hashem made the world. He started out, the world was from Olam HaTorah to Olam HaTikun, from Tzimtzum. In order to make a world from infinite to finite, Hashem has to remove the infinite light, and so to speak, or hide it, and make a finite world. You can't have a finite world in an infinite order. Hashem had to place and make a makam for the world. Like says clay reikon machzik, we said this many times. A full cup, you can't add anything to a full cup, it's full. You have to empty it to put something in. Same thing, Hashem made everything the bria. Before anything new, you have to first remove what was, and then you could bring something new. So when we end the year, we have to leave behind, the word year, Shana, has two meanings. Shana means repeating, and Shana also means new, Shinui. Shinui is something new, and Shana, Nishna, is repeating. It's two opposite terms. One is we're repeating, another year going on, another year happening, and then Shinui is something new. So since we're starting a new year, we have to leave behind everything, all the levels we have from the old year, we have to put it aside, and we go to a matzav on the night of Rosh Hashana called Dormita. Everyone should know what the word Dormita means. Dormitory comes from Dormita, where you go to sleep. The world goes into sleep mode. Just like every night, a person wants to refresh himself the next morning, after a whole day of work, what does he do? He goes to sleep, and the Shama leaves him, puts him in a sleep mode, and then hopefully he wakes up in the morning all refreshed and ready to go on. That daily cycle happens in a yearly cycle too. At the end of the year, we want to start a brand new year with a shinui l'tov, with a better level. We want to leave whatever behind and start something new. So the first thing is we have to put aside what was, and that's called the Zman of Dormita. From the night of Rosh Hashana until tekiyos shofar the next morning, the world is in autopilot. We're flying in autopilot, and shofar is the wake up. When that sound comes up now, it wakes up the spirits up there, and the whole process of the tekiyos shofar is basically broken down to three levels: Tashrat, Tashat, and Tarat. There's 10 colors broken up in three groupings. They bring down the new shefa for the entire year, bring it down to the upper, just like we have in the body, the rosh, the guf, and the lower part of the body. That also brings down the shefa. Tashrat brings it to the rosh of the parsuf. I'll explain again what that means in a minute. And Tashat to the middle part, and the Tarat to the lower part. So when we hear these sounds, it's lowering into the upper worlds the new shefa that's going to be distributed for the whole year. Now, what are we talking about? When we just say we go to sleep at night, we lose the marker that we have, meaning the neshama, the conscious neshama, goes to sleep. So most of the neshama leaves the body. What?
Can you define Meichen?
Meichen? Meichen is awareness, higher awareness. There's three types of Meichen: Bina, Chachma, and Keser. It's not just knowledge; it's really connection. Bina is more like the emotional connection. That has to do with the lave. So the first level we have when we have an inspiration, our heart is involved in it. When we move up to the seichel, our mind, that will be Chachma. When we move to the Ratzon, our desire, that's the highest level. But Mochen is just like by down here, we want to add to our Dveikus in Hashem, and so we bring in all the mitzvahs that we do, have to connected either with one of those three things: Bina, Chachma, or Keser. What do these terms mean? So I guess we'll go back to that. Everything down here is parallel to Adam Elyon. We were created the same image as it is in the spiritual worlds. And the upper worlds, Olam Atzilus, we have four worlds. We're down here in Olam Asiyah. There's Yitzira, Bria, and Atzilus. Let's focus just on Atzilus and down here. Atzilus is the control panel for everything. That's where everything that controls this world comes from Olam Atzilus. What's up there? Up in Olam Atzilus, there's 5 entities, 5 different levels, called Atik, Arach, Abba, Ima, Zanuk. What was it? Arach, Abba, Ima, Zanuk. 5 things. Atik, Arach, they really are 2 of 1. That's the Keser. Abba, Ima, father, mother, Zah, like the son, and Nukva, daughter, like a family entity. And
Internal
What's that?
family systems.
yes, no, the reason they're given these names is because a family system interact with one another. When you, hopefully, and when they interact properly, then the children can get the food that they need, and everyone provides. The grandparents leave the illusion for the parents, then they can take care of whatever they need for the children. You know, that's the ideal system. And when we want to describe how the spheres up there affect us, we use this terminology. Just like in our world, we know the child, the son, needs the parents, and he gets his sustenance, and he gets whatever he needs through the parents. So too, we are representing the Zah and Nukva, we're the children, we're the recipients, and we have to bring down the Shefa from, which we call Marchen, from these high madrigas.
But then we have to bring it down.
Everything,
So we have a part to play.
we have a key part to play, because Hashem started the world, He made it on His own. Olam Chesed Yibanu without us. As soon as He made man, He put us in the driver's seat. We're now in driver's ed. He's sitting next to us, but He's letting us pull all the shots. Nothing comes down the road without us. He doesn't anymore do anything. We have to do something to bring down something. If we didn't say Tamlachuni Alecha, we didn't on Rosh Hashana say that we want Hashem to be Melech, Hashem Melech, Hashem Molech. Hashem rules the world just for 1 year at a time. For Hashem is a tremendous Yerida, it's a tremendous step down to be involved with running this world. Imagine the marshal you give is a bunch of little ants, and they're nothing. You walk right through and step on them, and it doesn't feel anything. We're like ants compared to Hashem's Ein Sof. For Him, Hashem, to be interested, to involve Himself in us, requires that we have to ask for it. So Hashem is a melech, not a sholeg. A ruler rules without choice, but a melech, ein melech maloam. A melech can't be a king if the people don't want him to be king. So Hashem rules the world for 1 year at a time, and He expects us to be makabel omach shemayim, which is the main focus of Rosh Hashana. If you look at the tefillas, more important than everything else, the din of malchus, the din of
You don't make that conscious.
What?
We don't.
No, we don't. In fact, even though it's a part of it says to make tshuva, we don't do tshuva on Rosh Hashana on our Averos. There's no one place we say al-ched. The Rambam says that tshuva, in Hilchos tshuva, you have to say vidui. That's mitzvah say of tshuva.
Someone said to switch back.
So, sorry.
So shoot this mode.
Yes. So the Maaseh, what happens is that we have the what were we saying?
And we're saying we don't make
No,
conscious,
choose.
and we don't do video, and we don't do.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so the tshuva of Rosh Hashanah is not on Averos. That's why we don't mention Averos. We don't do vidui. We're not fulfilling the mitzvah of tshuva that way. It's a tshuva klolius. We can't begin to say I'm sorry if we first don't acknowledge. Because when we come into Rosh Hashanah, we want Hashem to be king again. How do we ask Him to do that if the last year we rebelled against Him the whole year? We didn't listen to what He did. We violated. We didn't do what He wanted. So how do we get up on Rosh Hashanah and say, Hashem, when you try this again, be king again? So the first thing we have to have charota, we have to have regret that we were morid b'malchus the year before. So it's a general tshuva on the fact that we didn't act like subjects of the king in the year before. That's the only tshuva we do on Rosh Hashanah.
Isn't part of Avinu Malkeinu? Because you're asking Hashem to write you in the book of life,
Yeah.
right? Or is that what we're saying in part of Avinu
Yeah,
Malkeinu?
but that's not tshuva. That's not tshuva.
That's just-
That's brachos. Because if we're accepting Hashem as the king, then we need Him to give us. A king takes care of his so we need this, we need that, we need other things.
And then on Yom Kippur we say Chasmeinu to seal us and
Right, but on Yom Kippur, then we have the mitzvah of tshuva. So Rosh Hashanah is just a general tshuva that if we rebelled against Hashem the year before, that's what we do tshuva on. We stand on Rosh Hashanah, we read the meanings of the tefillas, we all focus on Hashem as the king. If Hashem is the king, you know, you have to behave a certain way. I had somebody, I think in Persian, a long time, years ago, maybe Yemen, I'm not sure where. And he lived in a place where they had a king. And he lived in the capital of that country. And he says, you know, when you have a king, and then when you wake up in the morning, so you go to sleep at night, everything is about the king. There's not one thing you do without thinking about the king. It's hard for us to relate to this. Maybe we have a president now who thinks about Trump and this and that. But you live live and breathe king. And that's really the way it should be by us and Melch Malchei Amlachim, especially that he gives us everything. He gives us our life. He's with us every step of the way, much more than a Melech Bos V'Dam. Al Achas Kam, how many 100 times more so should we be appreciating and recognizing and all the mitzvahs we have is for that purpose. The 100 brachas a day, to constantly be aware that Hashem is King, and we have to appreciate that, and that encourages Hashem to continue to take care of us. If He just wants to say, just remember, don't forget me, please, because He wants the relationship. It's all about the relationship between us and Hashem. We come to Rosh Hashana, that tshuva is restoring the relationship. That's the end of Malchus. And that's one reason we blow shofar, because that's what happens when you coronate a king. The Rosh Hashanah is the day of coronation, then you blow shofar, and you accept Hashem as king over us. So,
special ways in Rosh Hashana to feel the connection. We've spoken about it before, but it's very hard to feel the connection in reality. So is there any Rosh Hashana thing to do it for it?
well, there's always, the first thing is to prepare for it. Just like down here, if a person has a court case, he doesn't just walk in last minute. He hires a lawyer, he prepares his thoughts, and he does. So too, before Rosh Hashanah, a person should look at some of the tefillahs. Some of them are beautiful. You're not going to go through every tefillah the right way, but each person has something where that hits home, and they get the person in the mode of the tefillah. Sometimes you have nigunim, a certain nigun that talks to you. The shofar is really going to open it up for everybody. And so, getting back to the system of the of Rosh Hashanah, we said that the first night is Dormita, where we want new Shef is going to come down to the world. The first Hashem puts the world to sleep, and what happens is like this: up in Shemaim in the Olam Atzilis, we said is these patzufim, these structures, Zah and Nukva, the lower levels, and up above that is Ima, Abba, and Ara, mother, father, and grandfather. Use that term. Hashem created in Olam Atzilis the lower patzufim of Olam Atzilis, Zah and Nukva, were incomplete. He deliberately did that because He wants us to complete the picture. Our whole job in this world is to finish the parts of being of Zah and Nukva. What are they missing? What we complete? We know that 10 spheres is a complete structure, and it's missing the first top 3 spheres: Bina, Chochmah, and Kesser. Now, every the definition of partzer means an entity that is complete with all of its 10 components. It has all the 10 spheres represent an entire structure. If it's missing the Gar, the Gimel Rishonah is the Rosh, it's incomplete. So Hashem deliberately left a place in the world incomplete, and He gave us the job to complete it. He started the process, said, I did the lower part, and the Sheshmei Bereshis, Hashem did the lower 6 spheres of parts of Zah, and He gave us these 6,000 years for those 6 spheres to add the icing on the cake. All the Torah mitzvahs that we do are adding in either Bina, Chochmah, or Kesser, which are higher levels of connection to Hashem through either our heart, our mind, or our rotzen, where we add. We're down here, but it's like pressing a button down here, and it's affecting the patzufim above. So on the night, now here's how it works. So we already did a whole year. We had a whole year of Avodas Hashem. We're doing mitzvahs, people learning. So we've each individually have added the mochen from the previous year. That goes up because it's going to get recharged, and it's going to bring down new mochen. So the night of Rosh Hashanah, it goes into a meter level, and it comes back down the next day when we blow shofar. the new shofar will come down into Zah. It comes down. We're talking about coming down into all Zah Atzilos, up there. It goes from the higher worlds, goes all the way down, and it gives Zah the new Bina and the Chochmah and the Keser for the entire year. So when a person has the proper kavanos and follows the kavanos, he helps make this work. I want to skip to something which just on the side to understand what, just on page 21 and 22. We'll look at page 22. It's a very fascinating thing. I don't know if I ever explained this. Did I ever talk about breaking down letters to Vavs and Yuds? Does that ring a bell to anybody? Okay, now we'll view it again. This basically, what does the shofar do? Since the Rosh Hashana is a day of dinim, judgments, we want to first soften the judgments. We want to weaken them. Everybody doesn't like the day of judgment, because who knows what we will end up. Now Hashem made the world that when you have grus, when you have dinim, what you want to do with it is first you want to break it down. Let's say you want to have a nice steak. You can't just put it in your mouth and swallow it. And you may need hatzalah. You need to first put it in your mouth, break it down, chew it, and everything in this world has. If you break something down, then you could sift the good from the bad, and then you could elevate it. You could utilize it. So the shofar, what it does is, it takes the neshama, and the different colors. There's 3 different sections. There's a straight sound. There's the shram, which is broken up, and then there's a trua that breaks it up even further. After it's all broken up, then we put it back together, and now it's cleaned up from all the dinim. And this chiddush was a tremendous chiddush taught by Ravali, Moshe Davali, the Talmud of the Ramchal, page 21. And he says like this: everything in this bria, to make something new, to recreate something, it has to go through a level of decay before it starts something new. You take a seed, put it in the ground, that seed disintegrates, doesn't become a new tree. So after it disintegrates, in the ground there's a shorish for the new tree, and that brings out the koach, and it helps bring out something new. And so too, we have the letters. The letters of the Aleph base. If you look on page 22, the letters of the Aleph base can be drawn. There's 2 types of Aleph base over here. The top one is made out of kavim, primarily kavim, which are lines or dots, primarily lines. Most of the letters have lines. Sometimes you add a dot to it. That's called vavim. You break it down to the vavim. Every letter, Aleph is a vav and 2 yuds, base 3 vavs, Gimel is a vav and 2 yuds, Dal is 2 lines, A is 3 lines, and continue on. Primarily, take the letters and you break it down into lines. Then you go to the next level. Each line can be broken down to 3 parts: an upper, middle, and lower, top, middle, and lower. So 1 line equals to 3 dots. It's basically breaking into pieces. And he says that when you break something into pieces, then it removes the dinim that are there.
But what, in this sense, is what are you breaking it down further into? So the Aleph could be...
It could be a kav. First of all, it could be Aleph is a vav and 2 yuds.
Right, but in this case, we're talking about dots and lines. That would constitute...
Now you got 5. Now you have 5 dots instead of 3. It's more specific. It's broken into more pieces. You cut down the meat into small pieces, they can be able to digest it, and you remove all the psolis. The most important part is gvurus. When it's one entity, this is a very useful thing for someone who's not well. You take the name of the person. Let's say the name is Chana. You first look at the 3 letters. That's like the tekiyos, complete. Then you break it down to the Chana. He says it's 3. We look at it. You could draw it as 3 lines. Ches is 3 lines. Nun is 1 line and a yud, and the Hey is 2 lines and another line. And then you break it to the next level, and you make everything into dots. And then when you rewrite it again, that cleans out the neshama of that person with his name, and removes the dinim fall away, and the sediment goes away, and you reconnect it. And basically, the clothes of shofar do the same thing. They basically take all the dinim that are going to come down to this world. We want to sift out all the negative parts of it. Dinim we need. Dinim are critical, yes.
Do you need to do that yourself with Ksav Yad? Do you need to do it yourself?
You can do it with machshava also. But the Kabbalah very often do it by writing it.
Shofar though, because of an audio version of that.
Right,
yeah.
right.
I'm saying
It's
you
mainly the
get a
same
computer
concept.
program to basically just
Right,
take your name,
The
type it
frequencies.
in, and just show you the three
Right,
different
right.
renderings of your name.
that's right.
I
Right.
understand what he's saying. The Shvarim Trua is connected before Musaf.
A little wet.
So according, I understand the key of Shvarim Trua is 3 lines. The Shvarim Trua ends up being
Right, okay, that's if it's how they run on together or they separate them.
yeah, but that's not nothing to do with
That's
this,
not an
right?
effect, it's still shvarim
It's
shvarim,
still, right.
and then trua. So the shvarim represent the vavs, and the trua represents the dots. Now it's interesting that, let's say you break the aleph, everything is significant, like the aleph. When you break down an aleph to a vav and two yuds, that's what? That's Shem Havaya. Yud Vav Kei. It's 26. Right. Yeah, in the first letter already you see Hashem in there. And he's an example here. Emes. Take the Emes. Take the three letters Aleph, Mem, Tav. And you do it in the dot world, you end up with 26 dots. Because we know Chosm Shel Kosh Baruch Hu is Emes. Hashem is Emes. So that same 26, if you take the three letters Emes, they may have 26 dots, because Hashem is Emes. And you can find many, let's see, you could say the Yud Kei Vav Kei, if you break it into dots. So Yud is 1 dot, the Hey, the 3 lines is 9 dots, Vav is 3 dots, and Hey, that's 22.
With the
The
dots,
letters Aleph
with the
it's
dots,
amazing.
I'm a little confused. We see that there's 3 vertical layers.
Anytime
5.
it's a vertical line, it's 3 dots.
Right, but then, so look at Bays. Bays has
Three
on
lines.
top, then
What?
it has 3 on top.
3, 3, and 3. There's a 4.
3, 2, and
What?
3, 2, and 4.
Yeah, because there's the regular behind the. A base is not a chaf, it has a little thing on the right side. When you write a base, it's got in the Sefer Torah.
Right, base has the.
Yeah, but then it's 4 vertical.
Seal what? What?
But then it's 4 vertical.
No, because it's from the.
Yeah, but one of those
three
verticals is part of the three
It's part of
on
the three
top.
from the
Yeah.
side.
And,
three on top.
and on the
It's-
bottom.
Now the bottom, you see that there's a fourth.
Right. In dots,
There are
you're
4
able
on
to
the
tell.
bottom. There are 4 vertical.
There's 2 in the middle, not 3.
It looks like there are 4
No, three.
on that vertical line.
Right, 2
That's
in
good.
the middle, 1 on top, 1 on bottom.
Right.
So
I don't know.
it's not really 2, it's 3, because the third one, the one is
Oh,
part of
you're
the
saying.
first
can
one,
say
so
The
It's
bottom is 4,
2,
which is
4, and
3,
3.
and then
Yeah,
3
yeah,
from
3
this,
more.
and then.
So it's 1 and 3 actually.
Gotcha.
This I got from I actually made it, enlarge it from the
It's crazy.
Kisvei Ramdu. I don't know who wrote it, I didn't look at the details, but in general, it's, the process is amazing. In any case, this is pretty much what we do, blow shofar, because it's going to take the dinim that are coming down and break it to pieces. Also going to, the cries of the shofar, the shvarm and the trua are what arouse compassion up by us. And Shema, when a person cries, all of a sudden, that cry is what weakens a person. When a person is the difference between shvarm and trua, trua is more a quicker cry that arouses the compassion that weakens any judgments that there are. And so that's why we have the set of Shvir toward here. This is like one more thing. This is just Chag I wanted to show you. So now, how does this work? How did the kavanot work on Rosh Hashana? In this booklet, it also gives a little picture, which I'm going to skip now because I want to get to the shofar, of the overall Tishrei. We had the first half of the month, which is the judgment days, the dinim, Rosh Hashana, says Metshuva, and culminating with Yom Kippur. Then we have the Chesed days, the preparation for 4 days before Sukkot, with the Lulav and the Manu and the etc. That's the second half day. Smaller Tachas Roshi. First half of the month is the negative left, negative more Gvuras, but in the second half is the Chesadim. And so the shofar, the purpose of the shofar is to make sure when we have we're involved in the first half of the month, it was essential to go through these dinim to set up the year, that they should be as mitigating as possible to bring down the mochin in a way where we can have a good year. And so what happens is like this. Just to give you an idea. Actually, it's in the book also, so we don't need the chart. If you look in this book, put all the kavanot in. Page 52. This is when you get used to something. Page 52. You see a lot of shemas over there. You see a lot of the structure of shemas. There's two. They're actually double, one on top and one on the bottom. The same thing. Just want to give you, people familiar with this?
My sitter has one of these
What?
charts. My sitter has a similar chart.
Okay. This is, you have 10 spheres. You can have just written Keser, then the right side is Chachma, left side is Bina, like in your head. Then the right arm is Chesed, and Gvur, and Tiferes, like your body. And then the legs, the Netzach, and Hoy, and Yisod, and Malchus. So this is like this would, in sphere world, instead of all these shemas, you'd have Keser, or you have a picture of a person, his head, right left by the head, his arms would be over there. But here, we're turning the spheres into shemas, because the shemas is the neshama for the, just like the guf of a person, there's a neshama inside of it. Spheres is like the guf compared to the shemas, which is the neshama of the spheres. The sphere is only kale, it's only lavush, it's only a vessel, it only contains, but the main chiyas comes from the UK Vav case or extra as well. But the shemas of Hashem, that's the juice that drives everything. So if I tell you 10 spheres, I can think of the structure of the 10 spheres that I'm used to in the books. Or if I get to a deeper level, I want to see the neshama of it, then I'll show you the 10 spheres. They all look the same, but each one has a different nikud. So we've learned this already. The nikud of Keser is a comets. So the one on top over there, that's Keser, because that's a UK Vav with comets. Now on the right side, below, you have the Chachma is with a Patach. On the left side, you have a Tzerei. That's Chachma and Bina on the right and left side, just like in our head, the right and left side. The Chesed and Gvur, when you drop down one, on the right and left side, you have the Chesed is the Segel, the Gvur is the Shva, and then the lower part, which represents the feet, with Netzach and Hod. Yes?
What about that?
I just do the right and left column, then we do the middle column. And then the bottom of the right column, that's Netzach. Chachan, this is really set up as columns. Chachan, Baga, Kadatim. Kadati, or Dati. Chachan means Chochma Chesed Netzach, the right side of the spheres. Those are the ones that are giving. The left side, it represents the spheres that are holding back. Bina, Gvur, Hod, those are the Gvuras, the Dinim. And the middle side, it happens to be double, because that's like the referee, he's got a little bit of both. That blends it together. It's never good to be just one extreme. Never good to be, we can call this Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Avram is the side of giving, Chesed. But giving has a little problem. There's too much giving, what do you end up with? You could always end up with a Yishmael. Gvurus, too much, just Gvurus without anything also? Problem. And you can end up with an Esav. Yitzchak and Esav. Yaakov, who was the blend in the middle, B'tosa Shlema, all the 12 Shvatim, all perfect. Everybody's standing, because in the middle has the little of both. That's why I did to blend everything together. Anyway, this seer, when you see this structure, you just look at the spheres instead of like in an X-ray machine. You could see the body. When you see a person, you see his body. If you put him through an X-ray machine, you'll see what's behind it, the bones. I don't know what they see when you go through those things in the airport. But in the spiritual world, when you talk to somebody, you're not talking to his body, you're talking to his neshama. If somebody is in front of you or near you, and the guy's not alive, you're not talking to him. You're only talking to the neshama that's inside that body. This is a picture of represents the kedusha, the ruchnius that's inside the spheres. Because how do we describe ruchnius? Only with the Shem, Hashem's names. The only level we could be told face, we could actually grasp on something ruchni is using Hashem's name. That's why kedusha Hashem is so powerful. It's courage to erase it. But that's the only thing that we can have to somehow represent the ruchnius. So when you look at this package of kavanot here, this is a full entity of. This is 10 spheres. Now we have 2 of them. We're going to learn why we need 2 of them, but pretty much this is the beginning of the kavanot. The first thing we said was that we blow the shofar. So the first thing is we have to wake up the mochin that we fell asleep, the world fell asleep on the night of Rosh Hashana. It's in sleep mode. Now we come to shofar, we have to wake everybody up. So the mochin are sitting on top of Zah, they're no longer inside of Zah. He went to sleep. It's like a person goes to sleep. The neshama goes to a higher olam, he's out of the world that he's in, and therefore he can experience things in a whole different zman level, because he's out of this world. He can hear things and learn things. Sometimes you can hear things which are wrong, because it depends which level, what he did during the day. But in time period, he's definitely in a high level. So this page represents the shefa that left Zah, because we're in sleep mode, and it's going to go up. And eventually we're going to follow the process as we go to a point where Hashem will now take that, bring down new mark and add it to it, and bring it down together send it back down into the Zah. Anybody have any questions on this structure? You should just recognize this, because you're going to see this all over when a person learns that the sphere, the right side again, is the spheres of the chesed, left side is spheres of the gevurah, and the middle side is the ones that are blending the 2 together. And when we blow shofar, let me go back to follow the order over here. Okay, so we have 13. Okay. Go to page. Let's see. Page 1. Okay, on page 15. In the middle of page 15, we explain over there that the first thing we want to do is we want to take out of the parts of Zah and Nukva all the mochin that we had from the last year, send it up, and okay, so, and bring it down into Zah. If you see in the middle over there, Tashrat, Tarshat, and Tarat. Those are the 3 sections of the tekiyos that we blow. Each one, imagine a building has 3 floors, top floor, middle floor, and lower floor. And the new bracha and sheva is coming to the world, and they come down when we blow shofar, it's going to come down to the top section, which is the Chabad, vessels of Zah, the Chagat, which is the middle of Zah, and the 9, the lower part of Zah. In other words, our 10 spheres are really, as we mentioned before, they're really kalim, they're vessels to hold the Shada'or. These shemas have to go into something. So in our kavanos, we're going to show 2 things. Whenever we see that picture that we had before, with those shemas, that represents the or, that represents the light. But they have to be put into a keli, they have to be put into a vessel. When we look at these pages, where do we see vessels? So we'll see it throughout. Just to give you an example of the vessels over here. Let's say on once you become familiar with how they look in the form. Go to page 45. Page 45. We're all the way at the end of the book. 45. You see two parts of the page, and pretty much the way it's set up in the page is critical. Usually the kalim are on the bottom, because the oil is coming down, and you want to put it into the keli, so your keli's at the bottom. At the bottom, you have, on the top, you're familiar, we already see this pattern, a little different, each page is different on top, but pretty much all Yud-Kei, Vav-Kei, and Av-Kei, Yud-Kei, with different nikudas, everything in the right place. The right side is the Pasach, Segel, and Seri. The left side is some of it is missing. There's a reason for it, but generally we know when we see something like that, that's the R. Bottom, Kalim, the vessels, always have 3 lines primarily, and they're labeled, so it makes life easier. And usually they're right and left justified to make it even easier. So look on 44. Hit on 45, you see on the bottom of 45, you have Gimel Kli Chachma on the right side, Gimel Kli Bin on the left side, Gimel Kli Das in the middle. That's all the stuff on top is going to drop down. We slide down these shemas into the keli, and we go by columns. The right side we're going to the Kli of Chachma. All these shemas we're going to have in mind to bring into the Chachma. On the left side, we're going to bring in all these shemas on top, again, going to slide into the Kli of Bina. Again, top is the R, and the middle 2 columns, they're going to slide into Das. Move to page 44, same story is going to happen, but now we're going to bring them to a different kalim. On the bottom, you have their Gimel Kli Chesed on the right side, Gimel Kli Gvur on the left side, is on page 44 on the bottom, Gimel Kli Tferes in the middle, right, left, the middle, Chesed, Gvur, and Tferes. And we're going to have in mind to drop down this package of Shefa, the new, which is the old, and the new Shefa coming down from that we bring down with our shofar, and we're going to slip them in to the Chesed Gvur Tferes of Zah, to the middle section of Zah. And then when we go to the next page, 43, we're going to slide the remaining. We see it gets smaller and smaller because each one will keep what it has and pass on. All the entire package of Shefa starts into the Chabad. It keeps what it needs and slips the rest down to the Chagad. And then when we get to the lower part, only the one small amount of R that's left goes into the middle of the page. You see Kli Netzach, Hod, and Yisod of Zah. And the afters will hand it over to Nukva, and we'll learn about that another time. But generally, what we come out tonight, and it's a lot of information, just 2 things. We have something called R and Kli. And in the different aspects of the shofar blowing, we are going to bring down this new package of Shefa to the world in the different levels that we have, whether we're in the Chabad, and Naisek, and our kavanot, we actually bring it down in Olam HaTzilas to the Zah, to the Chabad, and Ayav Zah, and that will eventually bring the Shefa to us as well. I think we have enough for one night. We have homework.
Yeah.
Go a little faster next time.
What? Really?
Very complex stuff.
There's a
Okay,
test
here's what I'm
that
gonna try. I'm gonna try Mitzvah Hashem to see if I can use AI, right, to just simply